Hello everyone, Spitter back in with our Marvel content channel. Today, I'm bringing y'all another buff concept, and this one being for OG Vision, as you can see. And as always, these are purely fan-made and are not official, leaked, real, etc. This was just for fun. Now, my goals for the champion is to keep his consistent power control. Like, one of the Vision's best aspects is his power control. So, I didn't want to take that from him, like they did with Deathless Vision, where they kind of they nerfed his power control, but then they didn't really buff his damage. Like, Deathless Vision kind of sucks. And also, because Vision in the comics is able to phase through stuff, I wanted to give him a phase mechanic, kind of like how they did Deathless Vision, but I'm going to do it differently. I want him to have some regeneration. He's going to be a miss and auto block counter, and he's going to have solar energy. So we'll see, you'll see what that solar energy is in a second. Alright, so for OG Vision, always active, so I'm keeping his bleed and poison immunity because he's a highly advanced synthezoid who lacks blood and nervous system. So of course he'd be immune to poison and bleed effects because, also he's a robot. Also, when Vision's ability accuracy would be lowered, he instead triggers a firewall passive, granting him immunity to ability accuracy reduction, and this also increases armor rating and crit resistance by X. So this could definitely make him a bit more tanky on defense. He's not going to be like the best defender in the game, like at all. I think like his special attacks are just way too easy to evade. They're one hit, and I'm just looking at him more so an attacker, but it definitely could be something to make him a bit of a wall. Not really though. And then when Vision is phased, he ignores miss and auto block, and gains 2 solar charges when he ignores either a miss or an auto block per attack. Now, solar energy. What does it do? How else can you get it? Because if it's just by ignoring miss and auto block, well, that's going to be very niche, and it's probably not going to be too useful. So Vision gains solar energy when striking the opponent, when he is struck, or when he reduces the opponent's power meter by 5%. So let's theoretically say he takes a whole bar of power. That's about 33% of their max power, and so you just divide 33 by 5, round down, I assume. So you'd probably get like 6 solar energies for reducing entire power bar, because that's like 30%, and it's by every 5%. And then once he gets to 25 solar charges, he enters max energy for X seconds. And while in max energy, Vision's special cause is reduced by 50% and gains a phase buff, causing all attacks from the opponent to miss. But each buff on the opponent reduces the chance to miss by 8%. So if you have a person who has a lot of buffs on them, they're probably going to be able to hit Vision. And this is just, because of the class wheel, Cosmic Champions usually have an edge against Tech Champions, so I just threw it in there because I thought it'd be a nice little counter to them. But yeah, going back to the reducing special cost, so Vision is probably going to have a little bit in reduction to his overall power control at base, just because I feel like it might be a little too overpowered for him to have such insane power control, but also I want to give him some damage. But there are ways that can increase his power drain and power control. So I think it's balanced like that. It's just more like you have to work towards that power control, where you also have that flat damage boost. You'll see what I mean. But part of that is the reduced special cost. So theoretically, let's say I cut his power control in half. Well, now you could just throw 2 special ones get some more utility, and you basically do the same amount of power control. But also, solar energy also increases energy damage by X and increases the power drain and power burn potency by X as well. So again, this is for each solar charge on you, and you can have 25. So again, let's theoretically say that like the value is set at 2.5%. Well, at 25, that's an extra 50%. I think that's 50%. Yeah, that's 50% increased potency to your power drain and power burn. Also, critical hits pause power burn and power drain debuffs for 1 second at the cost of a solar energy charge. So you can kind of use this as currency. And so you'll see with the special attacks, it's special 2 is not going to be a straight like burn all their power. It's going to be over the course of like a few seconds. So you can actually pause this, which actually allows you to burn more power and deal more damage. Also, so the heavy attack is very crucial to getting a lot of burst damage. So holding your heavy attack generates a passive fury increasing attack by plus X every 2.5 seconds. Or no, 0.25 seconds. And then furies go away after Vision lands an attack. So the first hit of the heavy attack will consume all the fury. So you mainly just want to use the heavy to just charge up, and then you want to like intercept the opponent with a special attack. Or if you get enough furies, your special attacks will be unblockable. When Vision's block is struck, Vision gains a regen passive generating 50% of damage received over 2 seconds at the cost of 2 solar energies per hit. But special attacks only count the first hit block. So for things like War Machines, projectiles, Winter Soldiers, and Punishers special attacks, like that's not going to just completely drain your solar energy. It's only going to count for 1 because I think that'd just be like way too unfair. And that would just make it so that against some characters you just couldn't bring Vision in because you can never ramp up his solar energy. Alright, and then for all special attacks, I already said this, but yeah, if you have 10 Furies on you, then the special attack is unblockable. So theoretically, with the special one, let's get into the special one, you could just hold your heavy attack and then just launch the special one, and it doesn't matter if they're blocking or not, he cuts right through them and hits him that power drain. But yeah, for Vision special one, of course, keep it the power drain, and it's now by max power instead of just a flat set amount of power. So the higher amount of power that the opponent has, the more power drain you'll be draining. And if they would be reduced to 0 or pass a power bar threshold, the opponent's passively heal block inflicted with a cowardice debuff for X seconds. So just a nice bit of utility there. You know, keeping his heal block, I think heal block is nice, and making it passive is even nicer. And then just giving him that cowardice debuff is a nice little bit of utility against mutants. And now for a special 2. So the special 2 is probably going to be your big burst. If you want damage out of OG Vision, probably going to be using the special 2. It pretty much does the same thing, but instead of like it all at once, it's just over a course of time that, again, you can pause and increase the potency of. So I think it's actually much, much better to just get consistent damage while lowering the opponent's power. So Vision inflicts a power burn debuff for X seconds, bringing 100% of the opponent's power over X seconds and dealing damage based on the power burn. So yeah, like I said, it burns 100% of the opponent's power. So if they're at special 3, they're going to go down to 0. But you gotta be able to keep this paused if you're giving them more and more power gain, because it's also 100% of what they have at that time. So if you give them more power, it will not burn that, but if you could pause it, then it will burn that with your critical hits. Vision also removes all prowesses on the opponent, inflicts them with a passive stun for 2 seconds, and increases by 2 seconds for each prowess removed with this attack. So yeah, you could probably get a pretty good stun on a lot of mutant characters, and this allows you to ramp up your, get a ton of furies. You may be wondering, well, you already used the attack, why does it matter to use to gain furies? Well, if you go with the special 3, you'll see that Vision steals 100% of the opponent's power over X seconds and immediately enters his solar max energy at 20 charges, or 25 charges. So what you can do is just use the special 3, and then you'll just be constantly gaining power, or the opponent's power, and then you could just use the special 2, get that big stun, and then by the time you're heavy charging, you could probably get to a special 1 to deal massive burst damage. And I think it should be a nice little rotation there. Again, you don't have to. Yeah, it's just a nice way to get some extra burst. And then for his awakened ability, so the first hit of the heavy no longer consumes personal furies, so this could help just to get a little bit extra hit, like a extra hit damage with all those furies, and it could also make it easier to make sure that the special attack lands with those fury buffs if you don't have 10 or more. So that's just like a flat Sig 1 ability that I think is really nice for his overall kit. And every X to X seconds, Vision gains X to X% of his max power. So this is pretty much like what he has already in his kit, and so I really like that, so I'm keeping that. And when gaining power this way, he gains 1 to 5 solar charges depending on Sig level. Vision also deals bursts of energy damage based on solar energy that can trigger through blocks. So this also helps with his burst damage. But yeah, that is OG Vision. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of wish this was like Deathless Vision, because I just can't stand Deathless Vision. Deathless Vision is such a noodle. His power control is not it. I just don't like Deathless Vision. I just wish this was like, I just wish we had a Vision that was viable in this game. It sucks that we don't, because he's such a cool character. But yeah, let me know what you think about this concept. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Stuff that you would change? Let me know in the comments below, and also let me know any other champions you want to be buff in the future, or just make on like full-on character concepts for that aren't in the game yet. I do those and I rotate every week. So the next video is going to be a completely like not buff concept. It's going to be like a champion concept. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and goodbye.